Welcome, viewers. Thanks for tuning in to Drawing Comics, Conan, part 24. I'm going to continue from where I left off yesterday, where Conan is crucified on a dying tree, out in the desert. Nobody around, just a bunch of vultures waiting to swoop in and have their meal. And this is after he infiltrated the cult leader's meeting. Now he's set out to be punished by these crazy people. So I'm pretty satisfied with the results for this panel. I mean, still granted, there's a little bit of a difference between his face expression, John Buscema, how John Buscema drew the face expression, and mine, my take on it. I think it has a lot to do with it being tilted more. Like here, his head is kind of like, huh? Am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing? Is this a mirage? And mine is, I don't know. He looks more haggard. Can't quite figure out what it is, what detail makes that distinction. And I want to find it. I mean, that's basically the whole idea, is like just to study and notice what these details are. So like whatever, like let's say if I draw from something else, draw from my imagination, I could use this understanding. Like, oh, it's really about the corner of the mouth or the eye and how it's like a little bit more wide in terms of its height. That makes it look like his eye, the face expression is more shocked or surprised. Just understanding these things, I think, kind of help improve drawing in general. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next panel. I don't think this is too terrible. The goal is to always try harder. So now we're going to go on to this really cool panel. Question is, where? I'm not going to do it on this page because I need it for the anatomy stream. So I'm going to do it here. And it seems to be about the same height and width. Well, it is the same width. And maybe this one's a little bit shorter. So I'm going to do some measurements here. Going to get my ruler out and see. It's about 5 inches by 2.5. 5 inches by 2.5. So first I'm gonna do 2.5, just like right here. And then do 5 inches. Let me just see if it just, yeah, it's pretty much like from end to end. So I'm going to draw out these boxes with the intent of paying attention to objects and the space between them. So it's the text box right here. And I'm paying attention to how close it is towards the frame. So it's a helpful technique to make things a little bit more simple. You know, your eye is focusing on a very specific area as opposed to the whole. Not to say that it's not important to look at the image as a whole. It's actually very important, but to vary it. You know, you have these multiple tools on your tool belt, and you just pull them out to ensure you get the goal right. Goal being drawing the panel accurately. So I'm quickly going to do a sketch, keeping it light, and as you can see, pencil, I'm not giving it death grip, and I'm keeping a distance from the tip. I'm not here, you know, really pressing down on anything. I'm holding it at a distance, making sure I get a wide scope, like the vulture, of what's going on. And this is another one right here. So take a look right here. Draw out this corner, you know, to make sure that you're framing everything properly in the panel. So again, recognizing the space difference between objects and also looking at the negative space. So rather than drawing the wing, you're drawing this triangle right here. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. I'm going to draw out this triangle. And by that nature, you're already getting the right curvature of the wing, because you're just focusing on something a little bit more simple. You're not focusing on drawing a wing, you're focusing on drawing a triangle. And you're trying to see, like, how accurate is this line to mine? There's a slight curvature to it, so I'm going to try to draw that. Just another tool, you know, another tool. Studying negative space. This is the negative space outside of the object. Then we got this negative space right here, which is kind of like an eye shape. Kind of looks like a fish as well, right? It's a negative space. So in that, if you guys remember, if you were here for the previous stream yesterday, I was giving you guys examples of how you could switch your vision to help you ensure, like, accuracy in your drawing. And where is it? Here we go. This was the example of it. You know, two boxes drawn exactly the same way, right? But depending on how you shadow it, it changes perspective. So you either see this right here as the front of the box, or you see this as the front of the box. See that? This is this, and this is that. But it's drawn exactly the same way. And it really is depending on your vision to recognize which is the front. Is it this? Or is it this? Same exact object. So it's just your perception being able to switch. And I encourage you guys to practice that. Try to recognize both of these shaded parts without shading them. Just by looking at it, being like, can I spot it? Oh yeah, there it is. Here it is. And that is your ability to just switch your perception. You know, train yourself to be able to do that, and it's beneficial. It becomes beneficial. The same way as it is here, rather than looking at the wing and the tree and the space in between them as like the ground, you could just associate it with something else, like, oh, it looks like a fish. So whenever you look back at the reference, your eye darts to this interesting thing that you discovered. Oh, I'm gonna dart back to drawing the fish. And that allows you to make the right curves. You know, it's not as intimidating. You're not looking at the entire thing and trying to draw the tree. You're trying to draw a more simple shape, something more simplified, which allows you to not be as intimidated and make the right lines, actually. So this is what I did just there, drawing the fish. And also notice the difference between the neck of the bird and where the tree ends or starts, depending on how you draw it. That also ensures accuracy as well. So it's not going to start here, where the gap between these two objects is going to be large, you know, to be mindful of that. So these are all just giving you guys more ways, more tools you could use to achieve accuracy, to achieve your ability to pay attention to detail. Next, I'm going to sketch out Conan. With, again, understanding the space relationship between objects, the far left side of the tree, and where his hand is, or his arm rather. Look at the gap between it to ensure you draw it accurately, that it's not too far to the right. The body, the entire figure isn't too far to the right. And quickly sketch out the body. The foot is kind of close to the vulture's mouth. It's interesting, the other day actually I was like biking around my area, and as I was biking I was in like this woodland area. I saw like a dead deer and a bunch of vultures around it, And this is like a forest area, you know. It was just such a bizarre thing. I'd never really seen vultures actually around such areas. Like usually I would think that are like in a desert or something, or in like more dry areas. But they were dragging this deer into the forest. There was a bunch of them, like 3 or 4 of them actually hovering around it. Even with the figure being so small, John Buscema still manages to draw like a really good, anatomically correct figure. Still a face there, and still some sort of face expression. Like, look at how tiny that is. He still nails it. trying to concentrate as much as I can to get this down. Because it's really challenging when you're working at that minute of a detail-oriented panel. You can easily just make things way too small or way too big in relation to each other. Like that arm looks huge compared to the head. And also his head is kind of like jotting outwards in disbelief, like trying to get better vision of what's out there in the distance. Is that a mirage? Am I seeing things? Like, it still kind of suggests that, despite being so tiny. I'm gonna see if I could like bring my head a little closer.
Can I ask a few questions? Oh, surely. On what
Trying to see if maybe I could bring it up to you guys for you guys to see. Just like little details that he puts on there, like right where the forearm is. He draws this little line to indicate an indentation in between the upper and lower part of the arm. And just various parts too, like where the chest is, for example, to separate the chest from the different parts of it. It's kind of hard to see. You guys really have to view it yourselves to recognize it or to notice it. It just shows, it's an attestament to how much he really likes to draw. That even in cases where it's like really tiny, he still likes to put in effort. He's not just like, great, an opportunity to take a shortcut, let me just, you know, do this, and this real quick. Like, no, he takes his time and actually includes little things to do it. And I commend that. I think it's very, very cool. this is where this eraser comes into play. It's excellent at just focusing on little details, whereas the knitted eraser is more for like general areas. And another perfect thing to practice, right? Like drawing big, drawing small, drawing all these like different perspectives, camera angles, face expressions, like all this from practicing from comics. I remember a long time ago I was taking drawing classes, life drawing classes. Like I went to this place and they had models there. You would just sit and draw from the models. And I was sitting there, I was drawing, and then it came to a break where the model takes a break, everybody takes a break, and I just kind of walked around and looked at other people's interpretations of the model, how they draw, what kind of work comes out of it. And I just overheard some of them saying, like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I don't know where else to improve. And I think it's just so interesting because there's like always something to improve on. It's just, I think the question is like, when should you stop trying to? And I'm wondering like what that is. Like, is it them just really not seeing anything else aside from what they've drawn, or is it just them kind of giving up? And that's their way of just saying, I don't want to try harder. Could be a little bit of both. I don't know. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, there's so much stuff to learn. There's always like all these different little things to pick up on. How can you say there's nothing else to do? Nothing else to learn? Feels like his foot is too big in comparison to the body. That's also such a common mistake that I see people do, like their feet are huge. It just looks like a kid who is like trying to wear his parents' shoes or something. thinking about doing a stream where I just fill up pages from the sketchbook. So like prior to closing it, like maybe doing like a closeout stream where on one of the streams I just focus on filling up empty spaces, all sorts of drawings. And maybe that's best for the drawing basics stream where I'm going to draw like the figures in action all over the page. Drawing hands all over different blank spaces, because there's so many of them. Like there's like all of this could be filled in with little drawings, you know, similar to this. Like as you guys could see, doing multiple hand drawings. Also around here as well. Trying to see where else, like here maybe as well. And here. All of this. Some of these I don't want to. I think it's going to be good to upload for you guys to check out on the Patreon page. I'm going to be doing that soon. You guys will have access to all of these pages with these examples of the figure on Patreon. So make sure you check that out. For those of you who are tuning in from the previous stream. And I'm going to be uploading these examples as well, so you guys can print them out, or you could have them on your computer if you're doing it digitally, and just copy these examples, use them as references. I highly do encourage you to copy it into your sketchbook so that you could flip to it whenever. So if you're not at home, if you don't have access to your computer, but you have your sketchbook on you, you could just flip to it and remember, oh yeah, the body is 8 heads in total, 4 up for the torso, and then from the groin down to the feet it's another 4 heads. That sort of thing. I think it'll help if you're not in your work environment, if you're out and about, if you're sitting in on public transportation, if you're at work and you have downtime. You could just use them as references to keep practicing. I think if I had a time machine to go back in time and tell my younger self to do something, it would be exactly this. And I think everybody says that. It's like my thing would be to say draw as much as you can. Get yourself a book and draw from the book, page to page, every single thing, from cover to cover, and keep drawing daily. Get used to drawing daily. And I was flipping through my sketchbook and I saw like some art that this girl did on in my sketchbook, and it was a Final Fantasy character, the ones that have like those wizard hats, and it was so well done. Like I look at it now, and this is back when I was like 17, maybe 16, you know, and it was like professional level. I was like, whoa, you know, this still looks good. And I remember she used to draw a lot. Kind of curious to actually know if she's done anything with it. There's been some people who like I've checked out since the last time I saw them, which is like in elementary school or in like junior high school, that were artists as well. And we would hang out and we would draw stuff and talk about drawing and characters and comics and all that sort of thing. And some of them quit, and I'm so upset by that, because a lot of them were great. Like they were really good for their age. And like I was mentioning, the fact that this person was like 16, 17, and still when I look at that drawing, let me see if I could actually find it and show it to you guys, because it's pretty good. Like, that's pretty good. You know, she was, I don't know, 17, maybe 16. But that's really good for that time. This is like 2000, so that was like 22 years ago. Too embarrassed to show my work, so I'm gonna like try to see like what other ones. Here's another one that she did. That's pretty good. You know, you could see in her lines that she draws a lot. You know, you could even see it in the hair that she's really nailed down certain things, and the eyes as well. It's pretty good. So I wonder if they actually are still drawing, if they're still doing comics, because I know one person who I used to draw with all the time. We used to like talk about comics. I've checked in on them not too long ago, and I was like, dude, really? This is what you're doing now? Like, you had such great skill at such a young age. Like, I knew this guy in junior high school, and he was drawing pretty well. And I think there's like, let me pop it up. Yeah, this is their work, Thunderbolts, and we used to just sit and draw all the different characters and stuff. And me and him, we worked on this together. I did the shadowing, he did the penciling, and I think I changed some things here and there. It was just kind of something that we did. You know, I would give him something, he would change it around and improve it on things, and then vice versa. But he was excellent. Like, a lot of this stuff is his work. Most of this stuff I would say is his work, and he really put in the time to actually draw this out. And I think it's incredible for that time, especially in junior high school, to be able to do that. And I looked him up, nothing, you know, didn't pursue it. it's heartbreaking to see that. It's frustrating, you know, because it's like you could have really created some wonderful stuff, man. Like, what are you doing? So if you are accidentally watching this, man, get back to drawing. You should absolutely go back to it. You were like really good at drawing. Yeah, I hate seeing that. I really hate seeing when people who are like really good at it decide to go along and do something that's like purely money focused. Ugh. And I bet a lot of it had to do with his family and them trying to convince him not to do it. And just like squashed his abilities. Because their dreams got squashed. It's like, would you be able to handle it if you see your kid actually achieving things that you wanted to? I mean, that's just some narcissistic parents out there, man. Just care about themselves more than they care about their kid. I think there's still a little bit of work to do. I do want to perfect it. I want to make it look a lot better. Nail down the anatomy and that really small panel. You know, just that figure. It's close, but I still think there's some things that I need to improve on. So I'm going to continue that, but I'm going to continue it on Monday. So unfortunately, guys, the schedule is going to have to change. I'm going to start only streaming in the evenings. Still going to be daily. It's going to be from 8 until 10 p.m. I'm going to be doing drawing comics, coloring drawing comics at 9 p.m., drawing basics at 8. Drawing basics is going to be daily. Other streams are going to alternate throughout the week. Check out the previous broadcast where I talk about the schedule change. I talk about the Patreon launch, the Patreon page launch. Check out the Patreon page. See if any of the tiers interest you. There's some interesting ones out there for sure, so take a look and see. And I will be back today, later at 8 p.m. for the evening stream, where I'm going to be working on my project. And at 9 p.m. I'm going to be coming back to John Buscema's beautiful work to color it. So tune in then. And if you enjoy the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Both go a long way in helping the stream grow. And I will see you guys very soon.